Okay, we alive.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
No, you sound perfect.
Beautiful.
So I'm Tanya. I didn't know your first name. I'm so sorry. I was just
I don't
I
think
promote.
I don't think I ever mentioned it. My name is Erica. I am the Community Education Director for Kid Power International.
You know what? I have your email.
Yeah.
I never had to email you.
That's me.
It was just how things worked out
Yeah.
because Giving Block was kind of like they're from South Florida too.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked out. And then how I met oh my gosh, I just went blank on her name. Oh my gosh.
Kristen?
Kristen,
Yeah.
yeah. I just want to call her art music NFTs. But yeah, because on Twitter we know each other by our.
That's right. Well, I'm really happy to have the opportunity to connect with folks here.
So I have Brent today as my co-host. Brent does a lot of stuff. He's a huge advocate for accessibility, especially for disabilities, and he raises a lot of awareness about it. And he's from Canada. He does this. I co-host for him, and he's always saying, "I want to co-host for you." So I'm like, co-host, because I think Carlos has had some surgery, so I don't think he's joining us today. So
Yeah, he had
hey,
mentioned that last week.
Well, I'm happy to be here because Tanya is one of my favorite friends.
Well, Brent, I'm so excited to be able to connect with you here. I'm Erica from Kid Power, and we serve all ages and actually all abilities, and we have since 1989.
Well, I'm happy to be here and co-hosting with Tanya for NFT for a cause because I always look forward to supporting Tanya.
Beautiful.
thank you, Brent. So it's about 7:03. I'm gonna go ahead and start. I want to say hi to. Oh my goodness, we're doing an event together. Um, Amy, hi, how are you? Welcome, Amy. I also want to say hi to GH_D under here. Hello, I don't know. We'll get to know you more. And Benita Defy One, hello. And also Investor Elvis, hello. Hello there, Monster Legacy. How are you? How's it going, Monster? You know what? When I call you Monster, I had to like hold back for a second, but I just know you as Monster. So when I say that, like earlier when I was talking to Erica about you, I was like, and I didn't want to say the word monster, but I just know you as Monster. Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Sorry, I was tweeting the room.
I love you.
Hello, and Erica, I haven't met you. Hi, I'm Kristen, aka Monster.
Hello, Kristen.
Everybody knows me as Monster, so if you say Monster, everyone will know who you're talking about.
Fabulous. That
if you
sounds
say
great.
Kristen, not many people know. So
Well, I'm really glad you created this opportunity for more folks to learn about Kid Power and the work that we do. Thank you so much.
I was so excited when I got her response because I know how I felt the first time somebody approached me about crypto. And so when I sent her that initial message, like, hey, do you accept crypto donations? And if you don't, would you like to? And I did not expect a positive response. She's like, oh my God, I was just thinking about doing that. So the timing was perfect.
Well, the timing is perfect on our end. We've been doing this since, like I said, 1989, and a lot has changed in the world, and we strive to stay as current as we can. And being able to accept crypto donations is something that we know is very important. So thank you again for helping us move in this direction.
So Kid Power was started the year that I started my adult life. So that means you guys have been doing positive things out in the world the whole time that I've been out here messing everything up. Pretty much.
I think we all do our own fair share of messing things up. We just try to mess things up better as we go along. That's the general goal.
I take it like this. Everything that I've been through, everything I survived, it started with the suicide prevention thing. I realized one day that I have 100% success rate of surviving suicidal feelings, and I thought I should probably share that with people that are much, much younger than me that probably haven't figured it out yet.
There you go.
So
yeah.
Well, it started there, and then it just branched out to other things. Like, you know what? I know a lot of stuff. I could probably do something with this.
Monster, I love you. let's reset the space. Let me introduce everybody. So I freaking love you. You're so mean. I do the same thing all day long. Every time I go into someone's space, I'm always like, so, but I'm like that all the time anyway. So, but I'm so glad you're here. And it's funny how we met. So, and I know you as Monster Legacy. So when I was just explaining that to Erica, like I only know people by their Twitter handle. Sometimes when I meet them in person, I call them by the Twitter handle, and people be like, "What?"
Well, that actually inspired me. When I started Twitter about 5 weeks ago, I started it as Lethal Princess, but I do more than just music. So I decided to use the label name because I do so many more things. I'm more than one person, basically. So I'm more than one brand, I should say. So I went under Monster Legacy, and then people started calling me Monster. And then one day I realized this song I listened to last summer, it's a K-pop song called Monster by EXO. And I had listened to it on the replay all summer, and I was like, did I manifest this? And so when I changed the name of my company, when I incorporated it as a nonprofit, I decided to change the name. So because I was changing it from a business to a nonprofit, so I wanted to like cleanse it kind of. And when I did that, sorry, I'm out of breath. Um, I made the URL. I changed the URL to Monsters Legacy because the whole reason I even started this in my condition is because I want to leave this to my children, my daughter. My daughter's gonna take my place. I'm setting all this up for her. This is my legacy to her. And so with everybody calling me Monster, it became Monsters Legacy. This is Monsters Legacy, you know. Basically, it will outlive me, is what I'm trying to say.
I was tweeting it. I love that. I love that. And then thank you for sharing that part about your name, because that's so important to hear that. And I think we as parents, you know, what everything we do it for our children and for the legacy we leave behind, right? I mean, that's what everyone I know when I talk to them, you know, what their definition of legacy is, what they're gonna leave behind. So, so I want to say welcome everybody. This is NFTs for a Cause, and again, sometimes you know you look through your news feed and you never know who you might meet, and you just like look through, and again, you know, we've been doing NFTs for a Cause. We are on our ninth. Is it our no? We're on our episode 17. I just forgot what episode we're on. I have so many shows going on right now, but we're excited about this because we've been featuring all different projects. Last week we had the Giving Block, which is fantastic, where they help nonprofits accept crypto. And also, you know, I had met Monster Legacy along the way, and actually, we didn't even know each other. Actually, I just she started talking, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then I wanted to get to know her better, and then she told me what she started telling me about what she's into, Kid Power, and how she's, you know, raising awareness by her NFTs, because the proceeds, so she was going to donate parts of it to Kid Power. So
All of it, not parts of it, all of it.
all of it. I'm sorry, 100% of it to Kid Power. Kid Power. And I think that is so wonderful. And those are the kind of stories we want to cover at NFTs for a Cause. And again, this is a recorded space, and it's also being recorded on Headliner because it's going to be cut up in snippets. And it's being streamed right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, which is right now on Social Chats SF, and Twitch. We stream on Twitch because we've been streaming on Twitch for years, so that's why we always stream on Twitch. I don't know why we stream on Twitch, because we promote gaming, but we live stream this space while it's going on, and our goal is to raise more awareness of the project and the nonprofit that is uh, donated to. So before we start, let's talk a little bit to Monster Legacy. So Monster Legacy, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And tell us, when did you discover Kid Power? And then after that, Erica, if you could tell me a little bit about Kid Power.
So my story is going to sound a little bit crazy, but just let y'all know I'm aware of my diagnosis. So what happened is I had a really bad childhood. I mean, child abuse doesn't cover it. My childhood was very violent, and that has affected my whole adult life, which ended up affecting my children's lives and any pets or people around me, especially if you don't know what's wrong with you. And you don't, especially if you're like really little. I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder because of what happened to me prior to the age of 3. that's not something you can control, you know. And I realize that all the problems I have, they all draw back to, I should let y'all know, I've been doing shadow work for 5 years, and I realize that each problem that I address, when I get to the root of it, it always comes back to not being safe as a child, as a baby, as a teenager, in relationships with parents, with siblings. I was never safe. And that's the first thing I wanted to do, was find, let me back up a little. Okay, so have you ever had somebody ask you, if you had $1 million, what would you do? Everybody's said that, right? Everybody's thought what they would do. Well, I had been listening to like Abraham Hicks and Neville Goddard, and Joseph Rodriguez breaks down a lot of the books that I read and stuff, and you know, talking about manifesting and whatever. And you know, there's games you play, like, if you won the lottery, how much would you want? You know, so, and what would you spend it on, and who would you spend it on, et cetera, et cetera. So I picked $375 million, just picked it out of the air, and I wrote down everything that I could possibly want, everything my kids would want, everything we need: a business, a house, a car, clothing, shoes, food, and then all my friends, if I got everything for my friends. And what about causes that I care about? And what about things I want to invest in? I want to invest in Korean movies, and I want to do this and that. And then I tallied it all up, I doubled it, and still had $30 million left over. And I died of laughing, like, how hard is it to spend that much money, right? So then I thought, I care about too many causes. I read this book called The One Thing, and I was like, the one thing. I threw the book across the room, like, started reading it, like, this is rubbish. This book is stupid. Pick one thing and only one thing. How? I mean, how? I just couldn't figure that out. I did finish reading the book. I disagreed with it for a very long time until I did figure out the one thing. My one thing is everything. There's too many things I care about. So instead of starting a charity for this or that, why don't I just fund the ones that are already existing, that already have the connections, that are already doing the work? Why don't I just fund them? Why don't I just do the part that's annoying for them to do and let them focus on the good work that they're doing? And it all came back to when I was a manager for mixed martial artists. I called them up. I saw, you know, fighting on the TV, and I called up a local gym, and I was like, hey, MMA looks really cool, but I'm crippled. What could I do instead? There's always behind the scenes things, right? And they said, well, fighters always need sponsorships. You could be a sponsorship manager. I said, great. I hung up the phone and I Googled, what is a sponsorship manager? And it turns out I was really, really good at it. I got so good at it. I was known as the queen of last minute. If you have a fight tomorrow or even the same day and you have no sponsors and you need a sponsor, call Lethal Princess. She'll get it done. And I did. And I realized I have a knack for getting money for other people. I have lived my whole life in poverty. I still live in poverty, but I have a knack for getting money for other people. And I thought, you know what? I just put all this together, and here I am now. Ta-da! Oh, and one more thing. I'm trying to prove two things. I'm trying to prove that perfectionism is a bullshit lie people need to abandon. And two, you don't have to wait till you have the money to do something to do something. I made 30 songs on a laptop that's broken in two pieces and held together with packing tape and bottle caps. Okay. I painted 200 paintings in the driveway in the ghetto next to a meth lab across from a trap house. I don't like excuses. I get things done. And I'm sorry, I'm out of breath and I forgot what the first thing I said was. I wanted to comment on it.
You are a doer.
What was the first thing I said?
You said you get stuff done. That's awesome.
Oh, I know what it was. That you don't have to wait till you have money, and perfectionism was the other thing. I released a total of 14 songs, 10 of which I sang on, and 2 of them I should have re-recorded because my pronunciation, I don't know if y'all know, but I sing in Korean. I don't speak Korean, but I just sing in Korean.
I was gonna bring that up next.
Yeah.
I
So
just discovered
by
that.
the time I got to the end of the album, the songs I had recorded at the beginning, I could now do them better, and I could have redone them. It would have cost me about $400 to re-record them. And I thought to myself, you know what? The old me would have paid that. The old me would have done anything, would not have released something that was substandard. The music is great, everything's great. It's just you can tell I'm a white girl singing Korean. You can tell I'm not Korean, and that's it. But that shouldn't be a flaw. That shouldn't be something to stop. In Asian cultures, perfectionism is a huge problem, and one of the main causes of suicide in Asian cultures is perfectionism. So if I can say, hey, look at me singing in Korean, not perfectly, and still succeeding at it and using it for a good cause, then you can too. What's your excuse? And that's how I work.
So is your music and an NFT? So you have music NFTs?
Yes, actually, one of the ones that I'm selling to raise money for Kid Power, originally I had attached it to a song, but I thought the song didn't come out right, the cover. I thought it got cut. So I went and made a different NFT, and it turns out the first one wasn't messed up. So they're actually going to get $100,000 plus $161.
Say that again. How much?
One NFT is going to bring in $100,000, and the other NFT that's attached to the music NFT is going to bring in $161. It was
Wow.
just a little snafu.
That's huge. I'm like stuttering right now.
So if I could pin my pin tweet in here, I actually put things in the comments that I plan to share.
I'm on your page right now, like looking for your tweet.
Well, go ahead and pin my pin tweet to the space, because
Okay.
in the comments of that pin tweet, I put everything that we're going to need for tonight's conversations. The NFTs you're talking about, the music NFT is actually in that comment thread on my pin tweet. Yep.
16.
All right, let me hold on. Yep, that's the one. Okay, so if you go down to, okay, the first comment, it says "Can't Break a Boss" on Mint Songs. That is that's the first NFT that I made for Kid Power. I don't know if Keith Kidberry is in here, but it's his tweet. I asked him if I could use it for an NFT, and he said yeah, because he loves NFTs. I didn't know what to do with it at first, and then I was like, you know what? I know what to do. And then Kid Power, Kidberry, Keith Kidberry, Kid Power. I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. Let me do that. I'm an artist in all things, okay? Can I shout out some of my friends that are in here? All right, I'm gonna shout out my friends. Hey Mish, hey Jody, hey Jenny B. Hey, Benita. Oh, Benita has a new blog up, you guys. Benita is the crypto blog writer for Monster Legacy Creatives, and she put up a new blog about an hour ago. Hi, friends. Thank you for coming. I love you. Did I lose you, Tanya?
I'm here. I was just I don't know. It's kind of weird actually. Now I can't scroll down. Okay, there we go. I feel like I'm in my new car or something. The Twitter Spaces, got a whole bunch of stuff going around here. So wow, I didn't even realize. Wow, that's a wonderful event. Well, if you publish a press release, if you write one up, I can publish it in my press room. It'll be good for both of you guys. So if you have to write it up. I'll edit it, but you have to write it up.
Yeah, I sent out a press release, and it was the package for like $99, and they sent it out to so many. Yeah, I did that. But I sent it in a fashion in which I could not cut and paste, so I'm gonna have to rewrite it, but I can get that to you.
What I do is I make whatever you have, give me, just give it to me because I change everything around anyway.
No, I'm gonna have to rewrite it because when I hit send, I didn't send it from an email. I sent it from their website, So once I hit sent, it disappeared, and I have to rewrite it. It was one of those services, a PR service. You pay like $99 a year, and you get so many press releases per month, and they send it out to so many people, so many outlets.
Oh, yeah, I do it old school. I have my own news outlet, and then I just publish it there. Then I figure out where to which part of the country or the world.
Well, you can be my new best friend because I've been looking for someone who
Tanya's
could do that for a very
Tanya's
long
the
time.
wizard of anything to do with journalism and PR.
Thank you, Brent. But no, if you write it up, I can like, cause the one in my website right now, the front page is a press release. I made it into a social media press release. So all the social difference between a regular press release is just words, and you know you have to answer the who, what, when, where, why, and how. But the social media press release links to all your social networks, so it kind of like you embed your tweet, your all the different things, so that people can either download it, they can share it, they can tweet it out. So it's very interactive. So, and but it connects to a regular press release. So you would say for more further information, social media press release, and then you put a link there, and then you link it. So this way, other media outlet, if they are interested in it, they'll click through and they'll go through that channel and look at it. And really it is I tell all my clients to make sure you have it on your own website, because social media press release just tells a more detailed of the story. So it'd be like, more detailed of what, everything. So
And I need that too. I need more details just because I have so many things. I've got the EDM in both English and Korean, then I've got the K-pop in Korean, and then I've got the painting, and then I'm also an author, and then there's my son's books. The reason that I named it Monster Legacy to begin with is because when my son was 8 years old, he published 5 children's books called The Big M, and the Big M was a monster, and he was a friendly monster, and he used to go around
That's
teaching
impressive.
teaching inclusiveness and compassion and stuff like that. And my son would go around to schools and do public speaking on bullying using those books. And so Monster Legacy started out being about my son's books. Oh, and he has a cartoon. I'm sorry, it goes with a cartoon on the autism channel called The Big M.
That's so like empowering and so inspiring to hear about children's books that are have that storyline.
Yeah, my son and I both have Asperger's syndrome, so we seem to be just compassionate people naturally.
I I love that. I did not know that. I did. Wow. See, moments like this is when you find the story behind the story behind the story, right? So, um, what other things so you do big paintings also besides sing Korean pop songs?
Yes, that's actually my favorite therapy, and that's how painting started. That's how all of this started for me, was just therapy, mental therapy. I was talking to Irene from Kid Power, and she was like, they're gonna want to know why you chose Kid Power, like how it connects to you personally. And I'm like, I can't do that. I'm gonna start crying. I had a very horrible, horrible childhood that damaged me in so many ways, and I really don't. I don't want to get into that, but the art, the painting, the music, that's where I put it all. And it just looks so much better on canvas than it does in my mind. And I paint these canvases that are 5 feet by 7 feet. And my favorite one is called Paleozoic. I was going to put my website. Oh, my website is in my bio, actually, monsterslegacy.com. And then click on Kristen Brown. And then just scroll down. It's all my, well, not all my paintings. It's my favorite paintings. I have 200 of them. I haven't got around to putting them up, but I probably should. But there's just something really therapeutic about,
What kind
putting
of space
putting
on
your music on
the
and then sticking your bare hands in paint and just zoning out.
Well, I would love for you to upload all your stuff onto my new website featuring all the different NFT artists. It's a new plugin that my old co-host actually created. It's for artists, but now he's building some type of tech thing for NFT artists. So it's gonna be he because he does a lot of analytic building of the plugins. So I would love to see what your art would look like on a full
You know
gallery.
what?
Except for yourself.
Where I live now, I can't do these types of paintings. There's just not a flat surface around me. And I live on a busy street now in a very dangerous neighborhood, even worse than the one before. So, plus, where would I put it? I don't even have my own bedroom. Like I said, I live an impoverished life. But when I do get to a place where I can lay out a 5 feet by 7 foot canvas and paint again, I'm very, very curious to see what comes out of me, because all of the art that I currently have was made prior to the 5 years of shadow work that I mentioned before. So all the stuff that I made before had like a whole different set of emotions to it. And now that I've processed my childhood emotions, you know, those emotions, they get trapped. If you're not allowed to express them, like when you're a child in that situation, you're not allowed to cry. If you cry, you get hit twice as hard. You're not allowed to say, my stomach hurts. You're not allowed to say, I have to go to the bathroom. You know, so those emotions, they stay trapped in you, and it makes you sick when you grow up. And I made some really beautiful stuff while I was really, really sick. And yeah, I'm still sick, but it's different now. And I've healed so much of me that I'm very curious to see what kind of paintings and what kind of music come out of me now.
Well, I look forward to this now that we got to know each other. I thought I already knew you already, but wow! Thank you for sharing all this with us. I think it's so important to know where the artist came from and what's the creative and what inspires them and the process. And because when it comes to NFT art, in my personal opinion, and I've been sitting in spaces since last year, in different NFT spaces. And I think Lucas is the one that Lucas Bean. I don't know if you guys know him or not, but he's the one that like really opened. Like I would sit in his space and he would have these really cool space by NFTs. But at the end of the day, you really think of. I sat there and watched people buy NFTs off each. They'll collect something, and that's what it is. You are collecting and you're investing into the artist. And once you find out more stories about the artist, it really empowers the person, the collector, to collect more of that art. And I really appreciate you sharing this with us, Monster, because wow, I did not know that. I did not know, like, and you're so right too. I did my own work too, because I think what happens to you as a child dictates sometimes, has a lot of issues for people as grown-ups. And once they realize, if they go and do some work, and which you're doing right now, which is incredible, and you're admitting it and you're so transparent about it, that's what I love about that, because when you're trying to hide something, people know it. But then, like, if you're so real about it, people nowadays accept with open arm, because if people don't accept you, it's their loss. That's how I always feel. And thank you for sharing this, and thank you for being vulnerable and being part of the conversation. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I'd like to share something. When I first, like I said, I've only been here 5 weeks, and when I first put up, there's a page on my website for my friends to put their NFT projects. And when I put that tweet up there offering that, the first comment was, "What's the catch?" And I was like, yeah, people just are not used to indiscriminate kindness. And people are actually repelled by it in the real world.
So
They
true.
think something's wrong with you if you're overly kind or outwardly kind. Like even this morning, I was trying to offer a friend a favor, and he's like, "Oh, you benefit as much as I do." I'm like, you missed the point. I'm asking, what can I do for you that would benefit you? Because I want to do something to show support, because I can't do this and I can't do that. So let me know what I can do. And he didn't get it. And I was like, people just are not used to kindness without reciprocity or without expectation. And I think that getting into the nonprofit, like I've decided to do, the way I've done it, I'm not going to have that problem, because these are people that want help. And I think that's my problem, is I've been trying to help people that don't want it, or aren't accepting of it, like aren't receptive of it. And I feel like now I'm in a place where people will be more receptive of my kindness. I
And
have a lot to offer.
I
It's just no one wanted it before. So now here I am, and it's like, hey, I have this. Do you want it?
remind me of myself years ago. I too, we have this thing. I think it could be from my childhood. where we feel the need, if I do this for you, will you love me more? If I do this for you, and we tend to give more of ourselves before we can even like realize what we're giving. So this is my personal opinion too, but once you realize that like you can't save everybody, and if they don't work on themselves and be taking care of themselves, you can't help them. You're still trying to
Yeah, I
claim
had
to
to
the
talk.
you
I had
know?
to talk with myself the other day, and I said, Kristen, just because you've done 5 years of shadow work and you're all enlightened and shit, doesn't mean everyone else is. Calm down.
And people are kind of cruel to the enlightened one. Trust me. I I
Yeah.
that'd be another space. We'll have a whole space about that. About why
Every single time I do something even slightly outside the box, my sort of boyfriend says to me, "Are all artists like this?" He says it in Chinese, but
mine
are all
sounds.
artists like this? Are all artists like this? Like, I get that a lot.
Yeah, me too, but that's okay. I accept it. I'm okay with it. So let's talk about kid power. Okay, so when did you first notice kid power? That's what I want to know. Well, like when did you first
Well, what you
them?
have to know about me is if I don't know how to do something, I Google it. And my friend Holly, she just thinks it's hysterical because I just do all kinds of things. And she's like, "How'd you learn that?" And I'm like, "I Googled it." And so now that I've known her 12 years, I just text her and say, "Hey, I started in NFTs. Yes, I Googled it. Hey, I'm doing this. Yes, I Googled it. Hey, my business is a nonprofit now. Yes, I Googled it." And so guess what? I found Kid Power because I Googled. That's it. I was looking for a charity that takes care of children globally. Had to be globally. That was the important part for me. I want to support global charities.
So let's bring up Kid Power as an international organization because I see a lot of chapter. So when I was researching, so Erica, how are you?
I am doing very well. Thank you. I've really appreciated listening to Kristen and to Monster. Kristen, all that you're sharing. What a gift. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. I am so happy. When I messaged Kid Power to begin with and said, "Hey, do you want to take crypto donations?" I got a positive response. And then when Irene told me that Erica was going to show up, I feel like I'm on the right track. There's a line in one of my songs that says, "If it doesn't open, it's not your door." And with what I'm doing with the nonprofits and Kid Power and other global nonprofits, I'm getting all open doors, all green lights. So I'm just going. If I try to go one direction and things don't work out, that's not the direction for me. But this is working out, so I keep going.
So, Tanya, what would you like to know about Kid Power?
Tell us about how it was founded, where it was founded, more info about Kid Power because what you guys are raising awareness about is so important more than ever today. I mean, if you look at I had a childhood. I was bullied as a child, so I could imagine what it's like to be a children these days being bullied. Now you got online bullying. You got online, offline. I mean, there's all kind of stuff, and I just remember how I felt when I was bullied.
And
That
I'd like to know some specifics, like about how does Kid Power help? What does Kid Power do for people to help keep them safe?
Excellent. So, Kid Power was started in 1989. That our founder is still our executive director, Irene von der Zonda, and she co-founded Kid Power with Timothy Dunphy. But the reason for the founding of Kid Power was actually 3 years before that, in 1986. Irene was a mom leading a field trip in downtown Santa Cruz, where she lived at the time, and she had her children with her. And they were waiting for the bus. She had other children as well with this field trip. And a really loud, angry, and aggressive person approached and threatened to take one of the children. Irene was able to stop the situation by yelling, by getting between the man and the kids, by directing people close by as to the help that she needed. And physically, everybody was fine. But Irene walked away from that experience having lost the belief it's never going to happen to me. and it's never going to happen in my hometown. And walked away with a mission. I want all children everywhere to be safe, and began that journey of learning, talking, discussing. Kid Power's beginning and its continuation is a conglomeration of best practices. The foundational elements of Kid Power are all built on long conversations and explorations and learning from experts in healthcare, in therapy, in martial arts, in education, and our whole nonprofit is built on the understanding of continued learning. There is always more we don't know. We learn from every student. We learn from every interaction we have. What can we do to make it better? Kid Power will never be done growing. So the Kid Power services and resources you get today, I hope you love them and enjoy them. By the way, go to kidpower.org, go to resources. Kid Power is not just courses that you can arrange online, which you can. It's also a bit of a community center. There are hundreds of free resources that people use daily to learn, practice, and teach skills for themselves and their loved ones to be safe from bullying, abuse, abduction, assault, and other harm. That's the heart of what we do. We teach skills to help people of all ages, abilities be safe from harm and have safer, stronger, healthier relationships. Those are actually the same tools. Just like a hammer can do many, many jobs, the skill of, for example, setting boundaries. Boundary setting of a child who has strong, clear boundary setting skills can be a lot less vulnerable to abuse. Nothing works all the time, and adults are responsible for keeping kids safe. And that said, boundary setting skills can go a long way to helping children be safer. And even if child abuse didn't exist, even if we could erase it right now and guarantee that it would never happen again, I would still spend my life and my career teaching boundary setting skills because they are the most powerful relationship building skills that exist. Kid Power is positive, and the way that we're positive is by focusing on that positive. Imagine if a swim teacher focused on drowning. Swimming is actually drowning prevention. Nobody calls it that. We're international. I've never heard of anybody in any country referring to the skill of swimming as drowning prevention. That would put the focus on the harm and the danger and the thing we want to prevent. If you think about how swimming works, we all understand as adults that it actually is death prevention. But it is not just that. It is also joy. It's also getting together with friends by a beach or by a river. It's being able to feel more confident, doing more places. It might be swim team. It might be building skills or diving. There is so much joy possible in building the skill of swimming. Kid Power is, in effect, social swimming. Sadly, in any culture, I don't think there is a phrase for what that is. We have the word swimming for water, but for social interaction, we use social safety sometimes. We mostly use people safety, safety with people. When you support people in having fun, getting the opportunity to practice and feel successful and supported, not shamed or tested, but supported in practicing skills for setting boundaries, speaking up about trouble, recognizing trouble early, recognizing that feeling of uh-oh, and knowing how to move away. How do I move my body away on a playground? How do I move away digitally in a gaming environment if I'm aware of something not that's going on that I'm not okay with? The teachable, practicable skills. The more people have those skills, the more prepared they are to take charge of safety in all different kinds of environments. When I've been listening to each of you here, I've heard, of course, and I can imagine the folks who are also joining us, you don't get to adulthood without having a hard road of harm that touches you and your loved ones, whether they're stories of bullying, abuse, abduction, murder, all kinds of harm. And practicing skills can be a part of that journey towards taking charge of well-being moving forward. Often when we think of the stories that happened to us, we might have been raised by grown-ups who did not know how to keep us safe. And maybe they were intending to be hurtful. That's of course possible. It is also true that skill and love are different things. A person can have a child and love that child deeply and not have the skill to keep them safe, not have the skill to keep themselves from harming them, not have the skill to ask for help. And people can get hurt. At Kid Power, we meet people anywhere in the life cycle. We support the skill development with people under the age of 5, almost exclusively parents and caregiver education, though we do have starting strong programs for kids 3 to 5 years old, together with their grown-ups. People older than the age of 5, we have opportunities to practice setting boundaries, projecting calm and confidence, practice skills for protecting feelings from hurtful words, knowing how to advocate for ourselves in age-appropriate, ability-appropriate situations. I've shared a lot of information there with you. Tanya, what thoughts do you have? What questions would you like to ask me?
Actually, can I go?
Yeah, go for it.
All those things that you listed, I did not have, and my life would have been so much safer and therefore better if I had. I didn't have any of those things that Kid Power teaches, and I needed it, and my brothers needed it, and my friends needed it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say something about the wording of things. I agree with you, and I love it. If you go to my suicide prevention page, it actually says monsterslegacy.com stay-alive. It says stay alive instead of suicide prevention, because I hate saying suicide because that's the part we're trying to get away from. So mentioning it doesn't really help in that direction, in my opinion. So I just say stay alive.
Thank you for adding that and for really drawing that parallel. Of course, especially as people grow older, we acknowledge the problems. It's not that we don't speak of the problems. It's just that if we all think about, the folks here on, I don't know any of the folks here. I don't know your communities, your homes. This is global. And
well, half the people in here are my friends, and they came in here just for me because I asked them to. So
good.
I
bet all the
yeah,
folks
I have wonderful
here,
friends. Wonderful community.
Yay. I bet all the folks listening here had grown-ups who, when it came to cars, fire, and water, were actually pretty good at focusing on the behavior that you want kids to know. Look both ways before we cross the street. Fasten your seatbelt. I'm not starting the car until your seatbelt is fastened. And they might have done it with differing kinds of grace and skill. One grown-up might say, look, sweetie, let's look both ways. There's a sign. Another one might say, get yourself back on this sidewalk. But what they're doing is focusing on the behavior, not focusing their time and energy wondering whether they should explain what happens to a human body when it's hit by a car, or believing that they have to explain that in order to teach street crossing. Just like a child does not need to understand drowning in order to learn swimming. And in fact, discussing drowning with a 5-year-old, especially with a sad tone. I mean, it will sound absurd if I say it to you. If I said, honey, I've signed you up for drowning prevention because I'm sorry, but, water can be really dangerous. Like, no kid is going to want to go swimming. They're going to be afraid and they won't be able to build the skills. And so many folks from cultures all over the world are so grounded and positive and skills-based, saying, hey, this is water practice. I'll stay close while you learn. And there is a direct parallel with social safety. Now, of course, as folks grow, we do talk about and acknowledge the problems, but only to the extent that we really need to focus on the skills. Just like when all of us are talking about, hey, I'm going to be driving this car. What are the risks that could happen? What if I don't keep my tires inflated? Yeah, this bad thing could happen. Let's inflate those tires. We do acknowledge the problem, but we don't dwell within it. because talking about trouble doesn't make people safer. Practicing skills does have the potential to make people safer. Tanya, I think I had
So-
talked over you there for a moment. Did you have a question you were about to ask me?
No, I was going to ask you, like, your organization is a global organization. Can we talk a little bit about what kind of projects you do in America and what other projects you do overseas? And do you like, and also volunteers? I'd like to know, like, are you looking for volunteers? What kind of volunteers are you looking for? Social media volunteers? I mean, I noticed a lot of that. And also if other artists or other people want to donate and stuff like that.
Yes, absolutely. Volunteering for Kid Power might be a great fit for a lot of the folks listening right now. If you go to kidpower.org/volunteer, because so many people come across Kid Power because somebody they know and trust pointed it out to them. It could be that you post something online. There have been, sadly, I was just about this a few moments ago, there has been yet another mass shooting. I'm talking to you from Fresno, California. And right as I was jumping on, I saw the news in Orange County. Whenever there is another mass shooting, we can't do anything. I can't. Each of us listening can't do anything about that situation. But we do know that there are folks who are exploded with fear, despair, and worry, and grounding people in skills and strategies to separate the things that we cannot do from the things that we do have the to do. We need to accept them all, but often we don't focus on what do I have the power to do? And let me practice those things. I do have the to protect my children from overwhelming media coverage of this thing happening right now, because watching and hearing images, sounds of it over and over will not help them be safe. What can we do to take charge? The reason Kid Power is international, I've personally been doing Kid Power for 27 years. I can't remember being a part of a conversation with anybody internationally on the Kid Power team in the community where we said, oh, where will we expand next? We serve the people in our communities. What happens is people find Kid Power, like all of you have found Kid Power now. You might talk to somebody later, listen to this. I was on the space earlier today, listen to this conversation. You might have thought, interesting, but the person you tell about it looks it up and feels like it's the most amazing thing they've ever found, and it's been what they've been looking for forever. And find Kid Power, and if they have that feeling, they work very, very, very hard to start Kid Power in their own communities for their own folks. So that's why you find no pattern. When you look at kidpower.org/locations, try to look for the pattern. You won't see one because we don't have a growth pattern. The pattern is, where is the right person who wants to bring this work to their community and it fits for their lives? So you've got Kid Power in Ecuador, Kid Power in Vietnam, Kid Power Persia, Kid Power in Cuba, Kid Power Mexico, Kid Power in New Zealand. Kid Power was international from the beginning in 1989. New Zealand was the first non-US location, been a part of Kid Power from the get-go. Each of those locations has people of and from that place. We don't export a skill set. I gave you the example of swimming. Swimming is a skill. Human bodies are human bodies. There's huge variation in ability, but the concepts of swimming don't vary by culture. The body of water might, but the physics of swimming doesn't. The other things that don't change are actual hand tools, hammers, saws, and screwdrivers. Sure, folks have different specific hand tools, but if you pick one, like a hammer, it's a tool. Everybody on the planet deserves to know how that tool works and to be able to have access to it. What they do with it is actually not my business. As a teacher of this work, and any teacher internationally, when we do this work, when we work with people, our goal is not to tell people what they should do. Here's the skill you should use in your relationship. No. What people want to know is, what could I do when I am facing this problem in the workplace or on the sidewalk, when I am dealing with street harassment or playground bullying or any other type of problem in person online with people? What folks want to know is, what are some ideas? What are strategies I could try? And the more strategies they have, the more equipped they are to deal with the unexpected. And so those strategies, like the idea of a hammer, it really doesn't matter where you are in the world. The idea of using it, kind of how it works, is pretty much the same. The concepts, the core elements of boundaries, acting aware, protecting ourselves emotionally, creating distance, identifying who is in a position to help us, and advocating persistently until we get that. Those are strategies that have reflections in all lives, all cultures, all ways of being. And so Kid Power internationally really teaches those same core skills. And the best folks to teach them are folks of those places, folks who speak that language, who know the culture of the place that they're in, and make those skills accessible, whether that's in Kid Power India, Kid Power Bangladesh, we have Kid Power in Nepal, and Kid Power in Canada. And then throughout the US, each location throughout the US really has a different area of focus and emphasis, but the nature of the work is still the same. We teach skills to help people be safe and thrive with people.
Can I ask for everyone to please retweet the pin tweet, because this is not the official Mint party. That's on May 20th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you could share that, then people can set the reminder if they want to come to the Mint party for Kid Power. Also, can I point out, Jesus, is he still in here? Uh-oh, I think he left. If he comes back, I'll point him out. He's going to help people get the milk token to buy one of the Kid Power NFTs on my website.
I think he was trying to get up earlier, but Erica was speaking. I wanted to wait, but then by the time I looked for him, I think he left. So you might want to DM him.
Okay, we'll do.
I love the fact that we are able to be so connected globally. And so, Erica, do you find that like overwhelming sometimes? The fact that this is a huge organization. I mean, I'm thinking on like a little, location here and there, but this is like a movement. Tell us a little bit about that.
It is a movement. If you were to get all the Kid Power, if you get all the people who've been touched by Kid Power, people who've learned Kid Power skills, that's over 7 million. So that's pretty exciting. If you were to get all the people who do Kid Power together, that's a much smaller group of people. For many folks, this is a labor of love. They're deeply invested. They work very hard to get nonprofit certification to whatever the NGO process is in their place or in their government. People do what they can. To me, I find it the opposite of overwhelming, because the problems exist. If what we are doing is focusing on the problems, bullying, abuse, abduction, assault, intimate partner violence, anti-LGBTQIA plus violence, violence based on age, ability, identity, anti-Asian American attacks, if we were to focus on all of these and that's the focus, that would be overwhelming. But because Kid Power says these are the situations and there are people right now and people need skills now, we can't stop all those things. However, a great deal of it is preventable. And when we do something that leads to somebody knowing how to speak up to get help, somebody for the first time having the strategy of getting some space on the playground so that the bullying situation that had been going on for so long starts to ease. That is an easing of suffering, and that is a victory, and that is a joy. And when people learn and feel that they can take action and feel the impact of it making a difference, that doesn't change that all the terrible things going on, those things are still around. But when people begin to feel less like they're just batted around by, but that they can make choices within it, then that's a source of joy and happiness. I hope to do this work until I die. There is no work I can imagine that would be as tangibly joyful as this work for me. I'm thinking of a class that I personally had the privilege of teaching. All of our services are online right now. And I was teaching a class. And when an adult who was taking the class to figure out how to help her child feel safer at school, she talked about the problem of her child, who was about 8, not wanting to leave the game because the kids were too rough, but he really, really wanted to play that game. That was the game he wanted to play. And should he have to leave? And doesn't he deserve to play it? And I said, well, you are perfectly positioned to assess with that child, what choices do you want to stay and play, knowing that it gets rough? You could teach him the skill of moving away over to the drinking fountain, get a drink of water to create space to reassess and make a choice. I could choose to go into this game that I enjoy, but that gets rough. Or I could choose to go play with these other kids who are not playing as rough, but I don't like the game as much. Maybe neither choice in life is perfect. Maybe none of them are perfect. But if we feel that we have some agency, because probably none of them will be perfect. Most options to us are are lacking in some way. But if I felt like they weren't things that just happened to me, but that I could make some choice, that's a joy.
Hey, Jesus is back. Welcome back. I could speak a lot on what you just said, Erica, but I would burst into tears, and we're not going to have that tonight. But you and I'll connect some other time when I have tissues handy. So anyway, so one of the NFTs is on Mint Songs, and you just need ETH, but that is the one that's $161. So the other NFT for Kid Power is on my website on a widget, and right above it. All right, so if you can go to my website right now, monsterslegacy.com/NFTS. Right at the top, you'll see buy milk token, and underneath it, you'll see a widget. That widget has the NFTs in it. So you can click that button, and then Jesus can help you with getting the milk token. Don't ask me, my head hurts. And then you can go on my website and buy the NFT right there. And 100% of the proceeds goes to Kid Power. And again, this isn't the mint party. You can get the NFT today or not, but Jesus is here today to help you get set up on Milk Token if you want. And I am going to have more NFTs that will be on the Milk Token and for other nonprofits.
Yeah, I would have to do a space and talk about the milk token.
Yeah, got milk.
I love that.
Is Jesus coming up or what? What cheese?
I gave him the mic. So it's about 8 o'clock. I wanted to be mindful of the time, but we'll go over a little bit because
Sorry.
Hey, how are you?
Hi. Sorry about keeping you guys waiting. I was just having a little bit of phone troubles because I kept going in and out of spaces, and the button was kind of muting and unmuting, so I had to go exit out. So how's it going? So I'm here to cover over a little bit over the milk token. So first of all, let me introduce myself. Actually, I'm a 13 plus skateboarder, amateur skateboarder, almost pro.
I've been sponsored. I've been in the space here since 2011, 2012 for Bitcoin and blockchain. Um, I started studying. I started finding out about it. Long story short, now fast forward, I'm actually now working with a token. I was able to save a token in its foundation and its whole ecosystem. So the token is Milk, which it's kind of a good thing that actually exists, and it's also on the Polygon network. You can guys get it there. I wish I can give you guys the address right now. I will try to get you guys that as quick as possible. But yes, they there was a thing that happened with me in the Polygon network a couple months ago, which was I got rugged, um and I wasn't sure what to do. So what I did was like look for a token, and that was giving me reflections. So whenever anybody was active or using it, let's say you wanted to buy or sell, um, people were getting the same reflections as the token. So if they were interacting, they were getting rewarded. And for version one, whoever hold that token were getting airdropped, which some of them did. Some did more than others. And by mistake, they did release the main funds from the main wallet, but we were able to recover them back, and we burned those tokens with an additional from it was 40 tokens with an additional 54 burning them and locking the tokens away. So none of us can even touch them now at this point. So what it is, we were able to hold. I was able to hold the bag as well from the airdrop. A lot of people woke up with 7K worth of airdrop, so it was a nice little gift. So yes.
Jesus. I wanted to stop you there because we're about at 8:02, and this is NFTs for a cause. I want to have you come back and we could do a space about your token, because I'd love to know more what you guys do to help the nonprofits to give back. Tonight's space is going to be more about Monster and Kids Power, and
But
so.
I would like people to at least follow him so that if they want to get set up with the milk token before the mint party, I don't want them to have to do it at the mint party. It's going to be too stressful for me. So that's why I wanted to introduce me and Jesus and the milk token and Kid Power and everything tonight, so that things go more smoothly for the mint party. So if y'all are interested, please follow him and DM him if you need help getting the milk token. Thank you, Tanya.
Also, I pinned the token on top just so make it short. So you guys want to add it, it's on the Polygon network. You guys can add it, and from there, I will help you guys and answer any other questions after this. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesus. I appreciate you.
That's awesome. I'll take a look at that too. So it's about 8:03. I'm gonna go ahead. Let's go ahead and have final thoughts. I appreciate everyone for being here. But does anyone have any questions? No, we have our hands up right there. Salsa. Go ahead and have questions. Go ahead and grab the mic, raise your hand, and let's chat about it.
Hey, Mitch.
Hi, Tanya. Hi,
Hi.
Monster. Thank you so much, Monster, for inviting me to this space.
Thank you for coming. I saw you and Jody, and I was like, oh, they love me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to support you all the time. She's a very genuine lady that has supported our space from day one. Every single day she comes, learns a lot from her. Um, uh, Kid Power. I was really touched by what you said, and I love the way you said it. There's an aura about your voice that is really genuine, and I love it. And I'm gonna look into more into this because of your voice. You sound very genuine and very sort of sincere, and that's what I love. I love transparency and no hidden agenda, and I just love that. So thank you so much. I followed you, and I'm gonna look into all about it and try to help as much as I can as our community. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak. I really appreciate it a lot. I appreciate your space.
Thank you so much for those kind words. We strive internationally, the folks who end up sticking with this work, place authenticity and genuineness. It's So these are high values in our community. So thank you.
See, that's never been appreciated from me in my life until I got here, and it was a little overwhelming at first, but I'm ready to do this now because this is my purpose. And Mish, thank you so much for coming, you and Jody. I love you guys.
So, Monster, do you want to do final thoughts?
Hey, I'm just glad I didn't, have to dig into my life enough to start crying. So, if anyone has any questions about any of the NFTs that I have for a cause or anything about Kid Power, you can ask me. I don't know what to say that I haven't said already. Except the mint party. Everybody come and tell everybody else to come and tell them to tell everybody else to come. It's May 20th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will hunt y'all down. No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate you guys. Everyone that's here for me, that I asked you to come, that you came to support me, thank you very much. I took screenshots. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And to the people in here that hold one of my NFTs in the missing collection, I have an entire collection on OpenSea that's missing. I use them as gifts to people. And I was actually going to give a gift out tonight. I was going to gift an NFT, but my whole collection is just gone. So if you're in here and you hold one of those, which I see a couple people do, I'm still volleying emails with OpenSea. If they can't resolve it, I'm going to put up the collection again. But just keep in mind that at any time, the old one can be restored and your NFT will not be a 1 of 1, but a 1 of 2. Sorry. I don't know what else to do.
Well, so they OpenSea support. When they made the account, they followed me. I followed them back, not even thinking about it. Because I have a lot of artists try to get their account taken care of. But they unfollow me, so I unfollowed them. So because they were collecting followers. So I tweeted out to them. I would continue. It's OpenSea support. So if you can get some people to retweet my tweet, let me pin it up. Maybe we can be able to get their attention, or get more people to comment on it, or maybe you can
Well, every time I email them, they send me this email back that looks like a cookie cutter email, and it says send the transaction number. I said, there's no transaction number. My entire collection is gone. But like I said, they just keep sending the same email. So I'm gonna give them another week, and if they haven't returned it, I'm gonna redo it. I cannot remember the prices, so it may be way off. I don't even know. I'm just gonna put it all back up, and I just want everyone to be aware that it may end up being a 1 of 2 if someday they do restore it and I don't know about it.
Well, but OpenSea just have a new software installed where if there's a duplicate of something, they'll be able to flag it, which they should have done that before they even launch. But they just
That would be great.
so something to think about. Kid Power. Erica, any final thoughts?
I'm just delighted at this opportunity to introduce Kid Power to more folks. People often refer to Kid Power as the world's best kept secret. Our goal is not for everybody to, our goal is for everybody to know Kid Power, but our primary goals are safety and quality. And when your goals are safety and quality, you grow at the rate that you grow, and you take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves. And Kristen, thank you so much for creating this opportunity to reach people who are really authentically interested in the type of work that we're doing.
I just want to say, how I was talking earlier about how people are like, what's the catch? Or they just are kind of repelled by my kindness. Kid Power is no different. Irene told me that when she got my email, she went to Erica and said, is this legit? And they stalked me. They looked me up and scoped me out. And they're like, yeah, I guess it is. Call her. And they called me. I'm like, hello, hi. Yes, I'm real. But yeah, so that's the common reaction I get. Like, ew, you're nice. What do you want? Like, oh God.
Well, we demonstrate the skills. We strive to use the skills of checking first and thinking first. And And something like a great donation, in the work that we do, one of the things we teach people is to be aware of possible triggers. And money can be a trigger, and there can be positive triggers. If somebody comes to any of us and says, hey, I'm going to give you this much money,
Like, are you really?
it's a good time to take a deep breath and go, let me take a look and think first before I act. And I'm just thrilled that we did think first and that you are indeed legit, and so excited about this connection.
Tanya, if you don't mind, I want to just give one closing thought. I do this in my spaces that I host. I teach people the difference between kindness and codependency. And I think that it really will explain like why I'm doing this, like the way I'm doing it, just jumping in. The difference between kindness and codependency is intent. If you're kind to somebody with the intent of reciprocity, or you need something from them, even if it's just for them to stick around so you're not lonely, that is codependency. If you're kind because you saw a need and filled it, that's genuine kindness. I see needs and fill them.
I love that. Wow, it's so true.
Thank you, Tanya, for having me and Kid Power up here and letting my friends speak and just giving us this opportunity. I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you too, and I just appreciate your just your attitude and your
Oh,
kindness.
Tanya. One of my friends is in here that I invited to come in here. The Filipino Scarecrow, because one of the charities, one of the nonprofits that I'm raising money for with NFTs is about bullying, and I wanted to bring him up. Can he just speak for 1 minute before we go?
Yeah, sure. I'm trying to find him. Where is he?
If he doesn't mind.
Can he do the emoji for me?
Oh, I think he left when I called him out.
Yeah, I saw him, but then he's gone now.
Oh, well.
Next time, well, can you introduce me to him? Let me see. I'd love to know what.
Yeah, he lost his child to bullying. That's why I wanted to bring him up. She was 5.
Oh, he's so young.
Yeah. So Filipino Scarecrow, if you want to follow him and connect with him about that. But I just wanted to let him know one of the charities is Stomp Out Bullying. I think it's stompoutbullying.org. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you. I just thought he was going to come up and say something.
No worries, but just definitely introduce me to him. We can do a space about that. I think it's really important to talk about, to continue this conversation, and you know, bullying through, especially for a young child, it affects them all the way to adulthood. I know that. I can totally understand the effects it does. So the more we talk about it, the more we raise awareness about it, the more funding we get for it is the most important part. So, but it's 8:14. I want to say thank you, everyone. Brent, thank you so much for being my co-host. I appreciate you.
You're welcome, Tanya. I always appreciate being in your space.
Gave someone the mic real quick because it's so hard to say goodbye when it comes to space, especially the conversation is so good. Bio art.
Hi, Tonya.
How are you? I'm getting ready to close out the space. Did you want to share?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, so
Tonya, I'm new to your space, so I don't know what are you guys up to. Yeah.
we are closing up. I have a space. My co-host Carlos, he's off today, but so I have Brent as my co-host. We are talking about NFTs for a cause, where NFTs artists are donating their proceeds of their art for a cause, for a nonprofit, to help someone or a community. So we raise awareness about it. So today's space is about Monster Legacy. She is raising her music NFTs, and her art. Her proceeds going to go to Kid Power _ International. So that's what tonight's space is. And again, it is recorded. So you can everyone. I'm gonna let you guys go. You can listen to the replay on Twitter, but I will be sharing this out. We'll be promoting the replay because it will have its own blog page.
And you can find Tanya in space tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern for Empower Yourself Monday.
Oh yeah, Brent is my publicist, by the way. Thank you, Brent.
Thank you all.
You're welcome, Tanya. I keep you in line when you don't know where you're supposed to be.
Yes, you do. You do. Thank goodness. Thank goodness I have you. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Monster is it's so awesome to connect with you, by the way.
Thank
And
you so much, Tanya. Thank you, Erica.
thank you,
Thank you so
Salsa
much.
and Erica.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for your space. Amazing space.
Bye, everybody. And if you find anyone or know of anyone that has a cause that they're donating the NFTs to, please have them reach out to me. We'd love to feature them. And again, everybody have a great week. Next week's space is going to be on Hermie, HURMIE NFT. Is everything baseball catalog, but he has a nonprofit where he donates custom NFT to youth sports programs. So we're going to have him up. He'll be our guest next week. So again, everyone, have a great day. We will be back next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for NFTs for a Cause. And if you'd like to check me out tomorrow at 10 a.m. at AWCSF for Women in Communication, South Florida chapter, Empower Yourself Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, this is Tanya Schultz and my co-host Brent. And everybody have a great night. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.